What's up, everybody? So we've had a lot of stuff for the new edition of 40K come to us in the form of different posts in the Warhammer community site, different faction focuses to generate hype, some rules showcasing as well, and then recently we've seen some more pictures of models coming, some that we knew, some that we didn't know, and some info and some stuff come to light as well. So I want to do kind of a roundup ramble for that. Firstly, relatively quickly to talk about, the core rules for the new edition of 40K are available to download from GW for free. As far as I know it's definitely the Warhammer community posting of it. I don't know if they've listed it elsewhere, so you have to go to the Warhammer community site to download it, I think, thus far, in a variety of languages, which is cool. And yeah, it's a free download, so you can get started on getting your learning on for the new edition of 40K. So that's cool. Do with that as you will. From there, we've learned the pre-order date and therefore also the release date of Indomitus, the box set Indomitus, as well as other supplemental stuff as well that they refer to as Indomitus and Friends. The other stuff is cool. Tournament, mission pack book, a point value book thing, and so on. But really, the star of the show is the Indomitus box set. And it's sooner than I thought, right? Because all this goes up for pre-order July 11th. I thought it would at least be in August that things would go up for pre-order, to be honest. So I don't pay attention to them saying much, honestly. So if they already said this before this, in terms of it coming sooner than August, well, I missed that. But I just thought, based on how things were going, it wouldn't be until August we would see something. But yeah, it's going to be July 11th up for pre-order. 2-week window of pre-ordering, followed by it hitting shelves July 25th. Basically means that's more or less when the new edition is hitting us, right? The Indomitus box set is going to be great. I'm definitely pre-ordering one. As far as price goes, I've been told more or less what the price will be by a good, reliable source, but I'm going to wait for it to be on the website before I ramble about price. But it's definitely going to be a deal, that's for sure, based on what we're getting. Even though they're push fit, it looks fantastic. Now, it is a bit of a shame, however, that we are seeing this box set up as a limited time while stocks last type of box set, because that's never fun, right? We always want to see more than a limited run situation. So unfortunately, this is something that's the case. It seems like it's very much limited run, but what is quote unquote limited in this regard, right? It's a 2-week pre-order window, plus it's got to be stocked on shelves. I imagine they are making the Indomitus box set still, and probably will make it for a bit after it comes out, just to get a supply of it before stopping. So the fact that they're not going to be making this throughout the entirety of the edition's life cycle means it's probably a smaller, less expensive starter box set coming, which is fine. So that'll be cool to see if that's the case. That also means once theoretically this is no longer for sale, then how are we going to buy those units? Well, they're going to be broken down and sold on their own. In the case of things like the Scorpic Lord, I imagine it's just going to be sold like that as is in its own little blister box. But things like the Necron Warrior Squad, for example, just using this one as the example, will probably get a multi-part plastic kit, and then like a expansion box of like 5 or whatever, quote unquote easy to build Necron Warriors, basically the push fit guys from the box set. That's happened with the Primaries and Death Guard for some stuff, so I imagine it'll happen again here. Now, assuming, of course, multi-part plastic is still here to stay, that's a ramble for another time. Just kind of wanted to get the juices flowing there. But very cool nonetheless to have it up for pre-order sooner rather than later. Definitely looking forward to that. And to kind of whet our appetite with that, they have showcased some new models for us. The Necron stuff that we're going to see here, we basically saw in the potato cam picture they posted a while back. Only we're getting it called out specifically with names and a closer focus on it, which is cool. The Primaris stuff is pretty much new. So first up is the Hammerfall Bunker. The Hammerfall Bunker is called such because it quite literally is dropped in from orbit, very Dawn of War 1 building style, right? It slams in from orbit. It is when the Astartes need a fortification in a hurry, a fortified emplacement stat. These things will drop in from orbit to support them. Very cool, very fitting, looks suitably powerful and bulky and all that. They call it a gorgeous chunk of weaponized death, which is a fantastic descriptor. And while I'm not sure if functions like a traditional bunker, meaning I don't really see a way to gain entry into it and to embark models inside of it, it still doesn't matter. We'll learn more about it, but regardless, it looks like a really cool piece of fortified weaponized death. The Hammerfall missile launcher is cool. The heavy bolters or heavy flamers on the sides are cool as well. And I can't personally complain about it. Aesthetically, it fits in very nicely with all of the Astarte stuff. And alongside the turret manned by the Primaries Tech Marine, it'll make a great strong point position. So, just really cool looking. Definitely military ordnance style. That's how it feels. What I mean by that is there are some things out there meant to be taken by an army that also work as scenery. Basically, scenery with entry rules, if you so desire, like the webway portal for the Eldar. This feels more so like an entry that could, if you wanted to, make it work as a terrain piece. There is a difference. It doesn't mean it's good or bad. It just this feels more so like closer to a vehicle than to a piece of scenery, in my opinion, just the way it's kind of set up to be and everything. But could definitely get kit bashing converted to be a piece of scenery, no problem. And I can see a lot of different loads of kit bashing and conversion ideas just looking at this thing. I'm getting my own ideas. It looks really cool. So with that said, let's move on to the one that I'm more excited about, the Convergence of Dominion Necron piece. This consists of 3, as they call it, Star Stele or Star Steel. I don't know. I always forget how to pronounce the STELE thing. Obelisk type stuff, as they call it. The reason I'm more excited for these guys is because I call these guys out in my Necron Potato Camp dissection ramble as being more than just mere terrain pieces created for the purpose of taking that picture. I also call out some other terrain pieces that probably won't bear much fruit, but I'm glad at least these did, because they definitely look like something we would be able to buy. And I'm glad to be right for once. That's pretty cool. So we see these things in 3 different stages of having their outside edifice basically broken down, but still they are Necron equipment, so they are going to be very durable. They're also apparently armed with the trans-dimensional abductor, which sounds painful. They allude to the fact that it'll be able to bolster units from your dynasty and that are nearby it, and with the help of a cryptech, be able to perform translocation protocols to redeploy on the battlefield, which is also very cool. I really like these things because they look like they've been on whatever planet they're on for a while. They have their stone edifices in different stages of shambles. I'm imagining we have to build them this way. I don't know if we have the option to build them all near pristine or all nearly broken down. Just don't know. But it looks phenomenal, regardless, in my opinion, because it's a scenery-esque thing that's not the Imperium or Imperium with spikes, aka Chaos, right? We've been getting more Xeno stuff, and it's nice to see more, which is why I'm excited about these guys. This is more so, in my opinion, feels like the Webway Portal. Something that has rules to use, but could also be a piece of scenery on the board. So much like the Webway Portal, you could buy even if you don't play Eldar, just because you want to make a piece of terrain and make a themed jungle, snow, whatever board with that on it. You could do the same thing here with the Convergence of Dominion. Jungle, desert, wasteland, snow, whatever thematic thing. You just have the stone edifice kind of in line with the surrounding coloration of stuff, and it would feel like, yeah, it would be here. It's been sitting here for millennia. It feels very natural in that regard to be there like that as terrain. But obviously, if you're a Necron player, you might want to use it instead of it just being terrain. But regardless, very cool. So I like that for sure. And they're a decent size as well, it looks like. Not too tall and too bulky in a way, but decent enough, which is nice. So, having said all that, we've also had 2 more things revealed per faction, Space Marine and Necron. Again, we're seeing all the Space Marine and Necron stuff because of the box set, and Indomitus is themed around them, and I imagine these are going to be the first couple of codices we get. So they hit us right in the face with the Silent King. Now, we've seen this guy in the Potato Cam picture. In fact, like I think I said earlier in this video, everything we've seen Necron-y has been in that Potato Cam video. Or picture, I should say, not video, but it's still great to see it specifics. And the Silent King, Zarek, looks fantastic. He's tall. He's definitely a big guy, which is kind of a theme of just 40k models of your Grand Leader to be big and in charge. Therefore, they're more imposing. But he looks great. He's got really cool staff weaponry. His attendants have interesting weaponry as well. There's that, what I'm assuming is a Catan in Agony in the background. I'm assuming powering his whatever he's on, dais, whatever you want to call it. But he looks fantastic. I want one for sure. And I love the effect of the kind of bluish greenish teal effect on his little separate kind of floating shield thingies and on his dais. It's just a really cool effect that I want them to do a tutorial on. I have ideas of how to achieve it, but I'd love to see them talk about it because, and I assume they will, hopefully, because that's something that would fit very well with the Metfrit Dynasty coloration as well. And I'm torn. This guy looks great. He's obviously Zarek with his own dynasty and own setup. But if I bought him and if I built an army of Necron, it would be Metfrit Dynasty. So I don't know if I would just have his energy phase shifted to be solar looking like the Metfrit stuff because he's leading them. I don't know. Whatever. It looks regardless. Regardless, it looks cool is what I was trying to say. So really fantastic model. I don't imagine he has rules for not being on his Engine of Destruction. I'm guessing. I don't know. But I imagine it's suitably beefy, suitably awesome. Whatever powers he can conjure forth from that is probably going to be just outright sorcery feeling because Necron tech super advanced and this is obviously ridiculously advanced looking as well. So he is the only Necron who has ornateness on him, or at least a cape or a cloak setup that looks like it could almost be cloth. Now it's not. It's definitely living metal necrodermisy, given the details on it. But everything else has got like this segmented metal banding type of cloak or cape or whatever. And he has a very nice flowy living metal one, which is very befitting of his stature and station. So can't wait to see the rulings and stuff and the data sheet for this guy, as well as the sprue. I imagine it's going to be quite a complicated sprue. So with that said, I could gush on him more and more, and I'll do that later. But let's move on. So we get to see, finally, a Primaris Tech Marine not mounted in a turret. This is the second Primaris Tech Marine we're seeing, but it's the actual unit of a Primaris Tech Marine. This is a thing I was wondering when we were going to see it. This is something that we knew existed since the Primaris were told to us, but we didn't get to see them as a unit entry. And I think GW is finally being bold enough to do so, because the doom and gloom that always shows up whenever Primaris gets stuff is definitely hitting hard with this and the next model I'll talk about, because they are outright just Primaris versions of what kind of exists already. And of course, that always begs the question, what do you take? But regardless of that fact, I do like what they did with the Primaris Tech Marine. I thought they would do something like this. I didn't think they would give it a ranged weapon kind of like how the Iron Father has, but it makes sense and it's very fitting. I like it regardless. But he doesn't have a servo harness. He's got a servo arm. Looks like he has got a mechandrite tendril, which is whatever. But he doesn't have a servo harness. So servo harnesses, thus far, it seems, are relegated to standard Astartes Tech Marine. So if you want the servo harness and its goodies, which is pretty cool, you would go that route. Otherwise, you could go Primaris Tech Marine route this way. The detail on them are great. The bionic arm holding the axe. The servo stuff on his backpack is very cool. The detail very befitting. He stands out very clearly as a Tech Marine, and that's great. I like that his left arm has a really cool kind of like just open hand detail, or you could have him holding a grav pistol, which is cool. I'm assuming it's a grav pistol based on the picture. I would love for that to be more universal. One of the things I would love to happen with Primaris is for these weapon options to be a bit more universal for sergeants, for other HQs, but chances are it's probably just for the Tech Marine. Unfortunately, they're going to keep it pretty streamlined that way, it seems, but I could be mistaken. Even the unhelmeted head option being so heavily bionic looks pretty cool, very kind of mechanical skull looking. I still would go with the helmet, but it's a very cool look nonetheless. The posing's great. It's just a very nice Primaris Tech Marine model that I was wondering when it was going to happen. Well, here it is, and it looks every bit as cool as I hoping it would look. Yeah, not much else to say there other than I'm sure it's stirring the pot for some people. Alongside the Primaris Chaplain on a bike, we have two Primaris Chaplain models, right, on foot right now. My favorite is the very first one, although its Crozius leaves some stuff to be desired. The other two Primaris Chaplain models, the one coming in Indomitus and this guy, have much cooler Croziuses. Is that how you say it? I think so. Anyways, the Crozius for the Chaplain on a bike is glorious. I would, because he's holding a different hand, however, I would chop the top off if I were so inclined to do this and put it on the Chaplain on foot, his Crozius in his other hand, and would look, and make the model just be that much cooler looking. But regardless, that aside, the Primaris Chaplain on a bike looks great. His book is chained down to his bike, very 40k. He's got a skull adornment on his bike as well. He's got suitable detail on his armor. He just looks the part through and through. His helmet's cool. It's got the Iron Halo effect going on. Very cool look. I like his posing. His foot's on the ground like he's getting ready to lead them forward into battle. Of course, with the Outriders, what everybody likes to poke fun at is the ground clearance for a bike, especially if this is supposed to be an all-terrain bike. Look at that ground clearance, herk type of deal, right? Well, look at the ground clearance on the original Space Marine bikes that we currently have for the standard Astartes. Calling them original is a bit of a misnomer, right? But the point is that the standard Astartes plastic bikers we have and the Ravenwing have no ground clearance either. So a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black there. But who cares? It looks cool. Suspension of disbelief, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to see like the Librarian or the Captain Primaris stuff get a bike option or not. I kind of hope we don't. While it would be cool, I'm also totally okay with certain HQs being relegated to supporting in certain ways. And I'm totally okay with the Chaplain for the Primaris being on foot or on a bike. And that's it. Nobody else is, because the captains just don't need to be, necessarily. That would be cool. At the same time, I would like to see a Primaris jump pack guy, kind of like not like Shrike, but just kind of like that unit of Primaris and Gravis armor that can de-strike down with their twin pistols or twin assault bolters and whatnot. It'd be cool to have a captain in similar configuration, but we'll see. I doubt that. But it's just cool to see the Primaris Chaplain. I know it's a bit of a tangent. The detail on him is very nice, and looks like he looks befitting of his station. And that Crozius is definitely very cool. I like it a lot. So good job there. It makes sense given the Outriders capability that they showcased, but at the same time, not that I don't want a Primaris Chaplain on a bike. It wasn't a unit that I was even thinking at all that they would showcase to us. I didn't even really think of an issue on a bike for Primaris, to be honest, but it makes sense, and it makes sense for it to be a Chaplain. So, with that said, the last model they showcased to us is a Catan shard of none other than the Void Dragon. This has caused a whole bunch of hubbub online as people going, how dare they shard the Void Dragon? It's not sharded, yada, yada, yada. I get there was wiggle room in the fluff, and I get the fluff was thus far. We have no idea what's going down with the Void Dragon in terms of does it have shards or not. Well, it has shards. Deal with it. But at the same time, it's very befitting for the most powerful of Catan to have shards only start being deployed with the Silent King coming. It's like the Silent King either has the shards himself to distribute and make use of by different forces of the Necrons, or it's by the Silent King's command that those shards that are kept in stasis or whatever are able to be used when the threat is dire enough. So yeah, the most powerful of Catan does have a shard now. But how many shards? I don't know. It's entirely plausible that the Catan as powerful as the Void Dragon is meant to be in the fluff, because the fluff does stand out to be the most powerful Catan, that maybe it's not fully sharded, and a good chunk of it is what sleeps on Mars or whatever you want to make it out to be. Who knows, right? It makes sense narratively to get the most powerful Catan shards out there only at the behest of the Silent King himself. I can see that being a very fitting, tribute to the Void Dragon, if you will. And who knows what type of narrative it might start. Maybe with now the appearance of these Void Dragon shards in battle here and there might stir whatever's on Mars and lead to future interesting narratives and plots. Who knows, right? But just some food for thought. I get it. People are a little bit miffed about this because it was left open-ended for us to interpret. Well, guess what? Now they're moving that fluff forward, and here it is as a shard. It looks great, suitably powerful. It looks the most powerful of the Catan shards. Granted, the other models, the Transcendent Catan model, looks kind of plain Jane, right? And the Nightbringer Deceiver are old, so they definitely could use a refresh. But as cool and powerful as he looks and is befitting to look, I would also like to have seen a generic Catan shard kit, because we could build our own Catan shard basically in terms of abilities and stuff when we take one. We don't have to take specific named Catan shards. I don't know if it's going to change or not with the Necron Codex coming, but if it doesn't, it would be cool to be able to just have a kit that lets you put different arms and head and detail options on it to kind of make it more stand-outy and unique looking than trying to convert up one of the already existing Catan shard models, which people have done to a really cool looking effect, but still would have liked to see that. But clearly we're not going to see that, at least not for some time it seems. But this guy looks great. This plus the other Catan stuff is going to be great source models for conversions and kit bashes as well. So that is just some food for thought there. But a very cool looking Catan shard. When we first saw it, I didn't want it to be the Void Dragon because I would have liked that mystique of what's the deal with the Void Dragon to have still been there. But I don't hate it because it is. I had a feeling it might have been, but it was just more so not wanting that to be the case to keep that mystique alive. But we now have the potential, like I said, plot point narrative potential here for what's the deal with the Void Dragon. How many shards truly do exist? Is this like the one shard of it that is known? Or is there like a very few shards that the Silent King distributes to the major dynasties, or whatever the case might be? Or is his decree allowing the few Void Dragon shards that exist to be used now? Who knows? What is slumbering on Mars? Is it something else entirely? Is it the Void Dragon? Is it the majority of the Void Dragon still whole? Is it going to wake it up and make it try and get its other pieces back? If it is that, I don't know, but there's potential there now, where before it's kind of like there's something on Mars. Cool. Anyways, I'm rambling, but that's what I do. All the stuff looks great. GW has been for years now with their plastics and everything, making really high quality models. I don't think anybody can deny that. So really looking forward to all the stuff. Can't wait to get that pre-order put in for the Indomitus box set. What are your thoughts on these models? And who do you got for being the first 9th edition, or whatever they're going to call this edition, codex to come out? I feel it's going to be either Necrons or Space Marines. It might be Necrons only for how much stuff they've showcased for them that are brand new for us to have as Necrons. But at the same time, I wouldn't be too surprised if Space Marines are first because they're Space Marines, right? But who knows? We have kind of almost an equidistant, not the right word, I just like to use it, kind of amount of new stuff, Primaris-wise, and new Necron stuff, where it could be either codex. So we'll see. Who do you got for that? Anyways, if you lasted this long, awesome. Thanks for sticking through this long-winded roundup ramble. Share your thoughts and opinions, of course, and until next time, take it easy.